Hello everybody, my name is Kubits and welcome to the best mod video you'll see this week. Alright, let's face it, in 2019, Skyrim's user interface is clunky, outdated, and was certainly never designed for people who play on the PC. With just a handful of mods, you can improve the UI to be just as subtle, as stylized, as detailed, or as plain as you like. This video is especially good for people starting out on their modding journey because some of these mods are considered by many to be entirely essential, regardless of your taste. However, if you're a veteran modder, I've got a couple weird little mods sprinkled in here too you might not have seen before. That said, I hope you appreciate this list and find it helpful. If you do, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, touch your butt, and check out more of my Skyrim videos because I have a lot of them. Okay, let's do this. First up, we have a mod that is arguably the most important for anyone playing Skyrim regardless of your preferences, and that is SkyUI. SkyUI takes the console-centered, outdated menu system and transforms it into something actually accessible and nice to look at. As you can see, many of the items are now all readable and their stats clearly displayed. Not only does this make playing the game easier if you're on a PC, because it allows you to utilize your mouse more effectively, but it also really helps once you've leveled up your character a bunch and are just a total hoarder. You know what I mean. It isn't exclusive to your inventory, however. You can see it changes the magic menu along with the favorites menu and plenty of other menus centered around bartering and crafting and so forth. Another super nifty feature of this mod is the fact that it displays your active effects in the top right corner of your HUD. Am I poisoned? Is my health buffed? All this stuff can be seen really clearly without having to open a single menu. And as you can see, it isn't really clunky or intrusive. You notice it when you need to. There are so many amazing details in this mod, it even provides a search function for items and your map. Another reason why it's pretty mandatory as mods go is because it lets you actually see all the options available for the other mods you have installed that specifically use the menu for their tweaks. So if you're not sold on convenience, just keep in mind it makes it so much simpler to change up the mods you have installed outside of SkyUI. All that said, it might sound like I'm gushing, and that's because I am. This mod is amazing and pretty much essential for anyone. Okay, so SkyUI provides a bunch of UI elements. What if you don't really like much of the UI at all? Well, Immersive HUD is always installed for me because it's just the only way to experience exploring a beautifully modded Skyrim. What this mod does is it allows for the crosshair and other UI features like the map markers and the compass that are constantly present on screen to fade away outside of combat in other instances where you don't need them. Even though the changes sound very subtle, it makes a massive difference when you're taking in the scenery, strolling through your favorite environments in the game, without any little distractions to take you out of the experience. But it doesn't stop there. Immersive HUD is also for you super hardcore difficulty nuts out there, since the combat status bars, crosshair, and so on can have their opacity tweaked by this mod. You can go into combat without any extra information. You can choose not to see your stamina, the enemy's health, or even where to aim specifically if you don't want to. Finally, you have something to blame your horrible crossbow aim on. A quality world map is also a pretty sweet UI improvement. Mainly, it just ups the resolution of the map textures and clears up the roads, making them much more visible. In general, it will help you a lot on your way to find whatever quest objective is next. After that, we've got Quick Loot RE, a super nifty little mod that ports over a huge improvement in Bethesda games developed for Fallout 4. Now, you can see the items on fallen NPCs or in the containers you're looting without a separate menu opening up and pausing the game. This mod is a game changer. And although it can sometimes get a little bit buggy, it's generally pretty easy to work with. And since it makes gameplay so much more seamless, I'd say it's worth at least trying out, even if it doesn't work 100% of the time. It's just such a small thing that really keeps Skyrim playable in 2019. Alright, the next two mods are a little bit strange, but so far, I actually really enjoy using them. Floating damage is a mod that shows you all the damage dealt visually, just like you'd see in an MMORPG or something like that. Now, is this mod immersive? No, of course not. But, I gotta say, seeing those little animations pop up in combat is pretty amusing and actually kinda satisfying once you're on a roll. It doesn't serve a huge purpose, but it is a fun little addition. The other weird mod, although less odd, is called Display Enemy Level. Now, when you enter combat with an enemy, you can see the level of the enemy you're fighting. It makes combat a little bit more clear, giving you the ability to parse out which enemy is the most vulnerable, and it allows you to see how tough the dragon or bandit or whatever you're currently fighting really is. This may not be for the immersion addicts, but I like to have it in my load order just because seeing that extra little bit of information is sometimes kind of interesting, especially when you're playing with difficult mods. Alright, the next one is real quick and just kind of cool. Main menu spinning emblem really simply animates the emblem in the main menu screen before you get into the game. Does it make anything easier or improve gameplay? No, but it looks cool, right? And that is why I have it installed. Next up is a mod I wanted to include because I think it's a really interesting concept. It's called Skyrim Souls. However, although it does work for the standard or legendary edition, it doesn't currently work for the special edition. Why is this the case, you may ask? Well, I made a whole video about why some mods just don't work anymore, and you can check that out right up top if you want to learn more about the issue. However, it is possible it may be updated one day or be taken on by another modder, so I wanted to include a description of the mod briefly since it's a great UI addition to the game, regardless of whether or not it will be universally usable again. Skyrim Souls gets rid of any pausing in the menu system outside of the map and skill trees. This is a mod that also really helps in the flow of gameplay, kind of like Quick Loot, but it also makes combat sequences a little bit more challenging if you're used to being able to take a break to loot or sort through your inventory in a battle. Visually, it's neat, but it certainly changes the way you play if you're used to taking those big breaks in combat, which I personally think is a good thing. But regardless of the way it affects difficulty, I have to say it's a very impressive mod and only gets kind of buggy some of the time, and I'd guess that it may appeal particularly to some of you that do actually want that kind of challenge. Okay, now it's time for the last mod on this list, and definitely one of the most beloved. Amazing Follower Tweaks is partially a gameplay mod, but I thought I would include it because it really does clean up the ways you have to interact with your followers. Now you can give them specific behaviors, design outfits, and much more. You can even tell them to relax and radiantly interact with objects in an area, or tell them to adopt a really specific role in combat. Recently, I taught Lydia a healing spell using this mod, and I just didn't think it was possible to love her even more. So, did I miss any mods? If you have any suggestions for me and fellow modders, make sure to leave them down below. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that dang bell. Also, keep in mind, I have a playlist of my favorite mods for Skyrim, and I'd super recommend watching that if you're looking to beef up your mod list, because I've got pretty great suggestions, no? Also, please make sure to endorse any of these mods if you do enjoy them, because gosh dang it, I really appreciate how much care and detail went into such important improvements to Skyrim, especially being so far away from its original release date. Seriously, at least a couple of these mods I totally couldn't stand playing Skyrim without. Also, a special thanks to all my beautiful patrons on Patreon for their support. With that said, I'll see you in the next one.